Right, we've got a new project starting today, and this one's out in the garden. So what I want to do, these jasmines are now a couple of years old and they're reaching for the sky, and I'd like to make it easy for them to grow up and over towards the pergola to give a sense of enclosure while we're in the pergola and a bit of shade and so on. So I've got to consider my options here for creating a climbing frame for them, and several ideas, but I think they're going to start with seeing whether I can easily get these caps off the post. So we'll start there. So let's see if we can get some movement happening here. I'll show everybody my bald spot as well. Oh, it's moving. It's coming off more easily than I thought it might. Just like that, it's off. Alright, so now I can measure the inside diameter of here and see about making a male piece to fit in and extending the pole upwards. Yeah, okay, let's go and check out what's in the scrap bin. Okay, so I'm going to get lazy here and go handheld. So what I've decided to do, these pieces of tube which I found in the scrap box here are about 1 millimetre undersized for the inside diameter of the post holes, so they slip neatly inside but then wobble around a bit. So what I decided to do was to take the caps off the existing post, which had to come off anyway, and bore a hole in them, which is the outside diameter of the extender piece, and that's what you can see here. And just I've just welded it on in 3 places. So now this drops in the post, and then this engages quite firmly on the top of the post, and I have to drive it back on with a hammer from this end, and that leaves me with these extensions, which is the right size, the right length to match up a rail mounted on the top of these stubs to the top line of the back fence. Well, you'll see when it happens. So I've done 2, so what I'll do now is bore this one out to match that tube. So this is all rough enough, it's good enough. We're dealing with fence posts and very agricultural tolerances here. I'm just using the face of the tool block here to push the cap something like square in the chuck, and that will do. I'll just get the camera out of the way, tighten the chuck up. And I need to get too carried away with that. Oh, that hasn't got a lot to get hold of. So now we'll drill a hole in here to get started, and then bore it out to the diameter of the tube, which is about 42 millimeters. So bring the tailstock up, and I'm going to start the hole with a hole saw. Yeah, so I'm using a hole saw because the cap isn't very thick material, and trying to do a big hole in thin material with a twist drill is a recipe for disaster. So it really is better just to use the hole saw. So we'll go on 600 with the quarter. We'll go on 600 for the 1/4 inch drill. Oops, that was on the 2000 setting. Let's try that. Pilot drills through and slow it down now to the 120 that I thought was going to be the go for the hole saw. So let's make sure I don't make a mistake this time. So X on low, and the bearing racket, I'm afraid. Perhaps you saw it contemptuously throw the disc out to the side, and somebody's just started up a blooming construction saw on the site next to me. Oh, I'm really getting over this construction work beside me. So, it's been going on for 6 months now. How long does it take to build a house anyway? Anyway, we'll get over it. We'll finish it one day, I suppose. So let's see how big the hole is. My hand's in the way, of course. Right, so that's 36.1. And the tube, our OD of the tube varies quite a bit. 42.7 round to 42.4. So we'll aim for just under 42.7. Which means I've got 6.6 millimeters to take off the diameter, or 3.3 on the feed out, I suppose I should say. So that's 0x, and come out to 1 for my first cut. And the light just fell over. Alright, so I've just tried a different lighting and camera positioning, see if that gives you a bit more feeling of involvement. So let's see how big the hole is. Okay. Alright, let's see what size we get. I'm expecting to be about 0.3 under. And right, we're sitting right on 40. Is that right? Sitting right on 40, so what have I messed up to? I misread. No, we are on 40 anyway. And we want to be on 42.7. So regardless of what I messed up earlier, we've got to be taking 2.7 off the diameter. So I need to go another 1 millimeter cut and then a bit. All right. Come out a millimeter. Zero that. Alright, let's check the size of the hole. Right. Let's see what that is. We expect it to be 42. And it is indeed 42.06, and we're looking for 42.7, so we can take another 0.35 and we should be there. Right. Let's see what size we finished up with this time. went ever so slightly over. So we're 42.78 or thereabouts, so we're 0.08 over. I don't think that's going to matter to a fence post. Let's get everything out of the way and see, more importantly, whether the post will fit through the hole. Yeah, that's a very nice fit. That's just sitting there. That's good. Happy with that. Out. Right, clean it up and weld it to the extension post. Okay, so we'll just clean this swarf, these daggy bits off. Yep, that's good. That's good enough. And I just realised the last 2 minutes I didn't have record on. So what you missed was me putting this on the required distance from the top, 245, and sliding on this backing ring which I made up, and just turn both faces parallel so I can use it to make sure this ring is sitting square on the tube. So now it's over to the welding bench, and I'll spare you the pain of watching such an incompetent welder. And if the end result isn't totally embarrassing, I might show it to you. We'll see. Well, as it turned out, I surprised myself by managing to do 3 respectable welds. You're lucky sometimes. So happy with that. I'm going to slop some cold galvanising paint on it now. So to fill in the tops of these fence post extensions and keep the water out, the scrap box again came good and supplied. These are dumps from a job I did ages ago. There's just bits of plastic from a hole saw, so they've got a 1/4 inch hole, but that'll be easy to close off with a dab of liquid nails or some such. So I'll just have to turn these to the right size to fit in the ends of the tubes, and that'll be that. Actually, as a bit of trivia, I'm pretty sure they were leftovers from when I made this rack for the NT40 spindles for the milling machine. Anyway, you keep these bits and pieces that are left over from jobs, and you never know when they're going to come in handy. Okay, just to get a bit of a consistent diameter to fit a blanking disc to, I just put this in the lathe and just skimmed briefly the top 3mm or so, just to true it up. So I've just got the disc mounted in a simple arbor, 1/4 inch thread with a shank on it, a couple of washers to clamp it. I've got to turn the outside diameter of this down to match the inside diameter that I've got in the cleaned up tube, and of about 35.5. Right, we're starting at excuse me, we're starting at 39.8 and we want to get down to 35.5. So I can take two 1mm cuts to take 4 off. Here's the first one. Now it's actually round. I'll check it again. Right, we're down to 38. We want 35.5, so I can take another 1 in feed, which takes 2 off the diameter. Have me down to 35.9. I'm not really confident about how this thing holds its size when it's being cut. I think we'll just keep checking. So we were on 37.97. We've just taken in theory 2 off the diameter, so we should be seeing 35.97 or thereabouts. Well, we'll see. We've actually got 36.03, which is pretty damn close. So we've got to take 0.5 millimetre off the diameter, so we go in at 0.25. Right, okay, well, we're a fraction under, so hopefully that'll be fine. We'll just do a test fit now. Yeah, that's perfect. That's going to be a nice snug fit. Right. It's a weird thread on this. This is an arbor I found in the drawer. It's a 1/4 inch BSF, if you don't mind. I thought I was going to have to make some nuts up specially for it. I managed to find a couple. When was the last time you saw a BSF thread? Okay, so we'll clean this flash off. And so now we'll see how well it fits in the recess. Oh, I'll be happy with that. Okay, so it's time to drill a couple of holes in each of these pipe extensions. So to help me do that, as I don't want to drill out in the field, drilling above my head into a round pipe that moves around a little bit, it's not my idea of fun. So I'll put an index mark here, and there's a matching mark on the post. And so if I get that underneath, and this pipe is already centered underneath the drill. So if I get that under my mark, I'll be in good shape. So just come up the end here and have a look. Pretty good. I think we might, yeah, somewhere there, I think. I'm going to drill. There's no accuracy or precision required for a garden fence post, but I'm going to drill in at 15 from that end, and I think 2 of the verticals are having these on them and 1 isn't, and the one that isn't is having one of these caps. So I think it's this cap that sets the distance down from the top. So we can see if I stay 30 away from the top of the pipe, I'll be fine. So I'll drill my hole at 30 here, and rough enough again will be good enough for this. Now I'm going to use 2mm diameter wire, and this is a 30 seconds I think long drill, which I happen to have, which is about 2.4mm. Yeah, that'll be close enough, somewhere there. This is not an occasion for great accuracy. Right, so we'll give it a starting dimple. That's enough to tell the long drill where it's expected to go. I wouldn't dare use this drill out in the field, reaching out to drill over my head with into a round tube that moved around. That would be a recipe for disaster. Right, and I think we'll amp the speed up a bit. For such a small drill, I might go up to around 2000. Yeah, that'll be good. So I've just had a bit of a change of mind here. I'll drill this. Get this set up good to go. I think I might change the way I do this. For some reason I didn't get sound on this piece of video, but for one of the 2 end posts I decided to drill 1/4 inch holes so I could use a pair of eye bolts to make it easier to pull the wire tie after it was installed. So with these discs that I made to fill in the tops of the posts, I mentioned earlier that I was going to put a dob of liquid nails or something in there, but it dawned on me there was a better and easier option, more effective option. So I've got this lump of, I don't know, some sort of neoprene type stuff, and using a hole punch, I just punched out some 7mm diameter rubber slugs, and they go quite nicely, firmly into here. And out the other side, as you can see. So I think that's a far superior solution to playing around with the double liquid nails. That's in there. That's going to be watertight, or at least resistant to any amount of rain that might land on it. And I didn't have to wait for it to dry or get my fingers stuck together. So much better idea. So as you can see, I've got the 3 posts installed now. The 3 post extensions installed, and the top rail put on. I arranged for it to align with the capping on the back fence to give it some sort of visual continuity. We pull back a little bit and see the rail. Get in a better position to see it. So the plan now, of course, is to string a couple of wires across here to that further post, and also this new rail across to here, and then some wires along those, so that the jasmine can really grow to fill this space here and create a bit of a canopy over this corner. Okay, the wire's on and the plant's already taking over. Light's not very good at the moment. It's getting into late evening, well into the evening, but this faces the sunrise, so it's arguably the best time of the day. Anyway, oops. Next thing is to get these horizontal bars up so I can get the wires running that way. Okay, so to make the overhead or sort of vaguely horizontal bits, I've got to make 2 of these, just slightly over 1 metre long, and with a plate welded on the end at a bit of an angle. I'm not sure what the angle is, about 10 degrees or something. I say I don't know exactly what it was. I used an adjustable square to catch it and just then transferred that setting straight over to the bandsaw, so I don't know exactly what the number is. Also, of course, you can see maybe I cleaned this tube up. This one is yet to be cleaned, and my tool of choice for doing that was this rather vicious looking wire brush. I won't do it in here, I'll take it outside to do it because of the mess it makes, but this really rips into it. This tube is, I actually salvaged it from a neighbour's front yard when he replaced his fence, probably literally about 30 years ago, and it's just been sitting in the pile of stuff that might be useful one day for all that time. But this tube is likely 70 or 80 years old, could well be more, but it's very heavy duty, very thick walled stuff. There's a little piece of it here. You can see that it's very thick walled and heavily galvanised inside and out, the way they used to do this sort of stuff. So this has been painted at one point in its life, and the brush rips all that off and just takes it back to the galvanising and puts quite a reasonable finish on it. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so this piece didn't clean up quite as well as the other, because there's a little bit of rust there, but I think I'll give it a rattle can paint job, and then the jasmine will hide it anyway. At least this piece was able to be in one length. The first piece from the scrap bin, I needed to join 2 bits together to get what I needed. That was no great drama. Alright, so I've got the second one made, It's sitting in position. So now I've just got to mark where I'm going to bolt it and drill some holes. Right, 180 from the end. Yep, so we're about on that, close enough. Back flat, that's good. 75, 75, that's got to be pretty close. Yep, happy with that. Take the bar down now so I've got room to work with the drill. I have to drill left-handed here. I hate drilling left-handed. There we go. Needs must when the devil rides. That was one of my dad's old sayings. Yeah, somewhere there. And there. So you can see better than me whether I'm at 90 degrees to the board. I think I am. Close enough. Right. So now it's time to drill some holes in the horizontal bars for the eye bolts for pulling the wire tight, and of course up the other end to anchor the wire. Okay, the first decision was whether to have 3 or 4 runs of wire, and looking at that spread, that looks pretty good to me, so I think we'll be having 4. Don't need to be close to that end because we've got the horizontal rail there. 250, yeah, that looks pretty good, so we'll go 100, 250, 250, 250. So I think we'll come back to using the 330 seconds drill, which has seemed to work pretty well. Right, one done. Now the other one's got to have bigger holes because it's got going to have the tensioning bolts in it. Right, well that's all the holes drilled, and that's these 2 guys completely finished except for paint. So I'm going to have some lunch, and then straight after lunch, paint. Alright, let's get this guy, first one of these 2 bars fixed in position. The spanner. Now we're on track. So there it is, all wired up. I'm just waiting for the jasmine to grow into its new home now. That's a quick and easy project, but very satisfying. I think the boss is happy as well. That's always a bonus. So, wrap it up, start thinking about the next project.